Should you focus on wholesale or Amazon online arbitrage in 2023? The video you guys are about to watch is a group call I did with one of my friends' groups, largely focused around wholesale. You guys know I focus on online arbitrage, which is buying from big retail websites. Wholesale is buying stuff in bulk directly from brands, distributors, manufacturers, and other people selling bulk products. So it's a good conversation around the pros and cons of each model in 2023, so make sure to stick around for the entire thing. You'll get some good game on wholesale and on online arbitrage. Let's get after it.
ASD, what do you guys think about ASD? Because in the wholesale community, there's a lot of fluff that goes around, like I like to be the one to tell my guys, I'm like, hey, if you're going for networking and vacation is one thing, but if you're going for like wholesale suppliers, it's nice to dip your toes in the water, like get used to talking to people in person and stuff like that. But to expect really good suppliers from ASD is not something that I recommend. What is the word around the online arbitrage community?
Yeah. So one, it's obviously a great networking and like vacation opportunity basically. But like, yeah, I mean, the way I think about it, right, is with all this stuff, you want to be getting what other people aren't getting, right? And naturally, ASD is like the most famous trade show, right? So theoretically, that's where a lot of other people are getting to, right, on there. But I think it's a lot of people see it as like a good entry way to like find those initial suppliers, right? Because that's the biggest limiting belief for everyone, right? Is like, okay, I want to get into wholesale, but how do I find products to buy, right? So if I can go a place where a bunch of, suppliers are, theoretically, that can happen basically. But yeah, I completely agree that there's got to be better stuff, because it like the best opportunities wouldn't be just free to go to or super not expensive to go to.
Yeah, the thing with ASD is that it's not an industry known event. It's like anyone can come.
Yeah.
They have any type of vendors in there. They have like, you have your Chinese private label vendors that's selling like whatever. You have the wholesalers, you have the wholesalers that buy from those wholesalers at that same event. It's a lot that going on. And from a wholesale perspective, the key to succeeding in this business is to get close to the supply chain as possible. And these guys are like as far away as you can get. So like they're buying from that person from buying from that person. And you're just like finding this bottom of the barrel people. Yeah. Everyone, you fire away the questions, like the chat. Anytime we have like a moment or two, like we'll get back to the chat.
Yeah, theoretically, right. And now I'm not, super into wholesale and everything, but what a lot of people say is that you want the suppliers that aren't looking for new people, right? That are turning away everything else, right? And if they're taking the time to go to a trade show, right, they're probably looking for business, right? Yeah. And the best people, they've probably been in business for forever. They have a bad website, but they're just super tapped in the supply chain. Or whatever, basically. So yeah, I think that makes sense. Well, I do think it is a really good thing for a lot of people, and I know you've been, and everything. I think that thinking beyond that makes a ton of sense too.
And for you guys, are you pushing people to go to ASD, or is it kind of like hey, we're going for networking, or are you telling them
that my bad for interrupting, but people would be a lot better off building a list of 500 targeted wholesales and cold calling, most likely. Because that would build them into the person. Like if you can sit there and cold call 500 people, the world is yours. You know what I mean? Like you're going to figure it out. Here.
Say too, yeah.
Basically, yeah, right. On that, but yeah, I think that makes sense.
What you guys do is, I'm guessing you guys do a lot of OA. So like the main focus is online arbitrage. Where does my question initially is where does the ASD part of the equation get plugged in?
Oh yeah, so I mean, to be quite frank, I'm going to hang out with people basically, but like typically the idea is that the people I'm talking to often, they're looking to get those initial accounts, right? So it's okay, the idea is right, I'm going to go there, I'm going to get the initial accounts, and then I'll go from there. Basically, is I think what makes sense for a lot of people, basically. But yeah. When people say they want to get into wholesale, my typical response is okay, go cold call 200 people. Prove you're actually interested in it. You know what I mean? And everything.
But you guys don't teach any wholesale.
No. So Warner does wholesale, right? I don't, right? So there's a little bit. But yeah.
Which one's Warner?
Yeah, Fields of Profit. So he's my guy who's selling up with and everything. So
I know the handle names, but I don't know if
they're. Yeah, exactly. Right. So no, I don't do any of those. So nothing really comes from me, basically.
Yeah. And what I like to say is if you're doing for all of the people that's in here that don't really know about ASD, if you're doing a lot of manual sourcing, like if you're getting the catalogs and you're manually looking at, looking at profitable products on Amazon, you can find anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 worth of orders. I'm not saying those guys are really, really bad, I'm just saying that 99% of the time, people are finding those prices for much, much cheaper. And another thing is these people that go to ASD, they know they're expecting Amazon sellers. So what happens is they bump their prices up because they don't know any better. They see the price is profitable now, they buy, they send it in, and the price tanks, not knowing that, it's been steady at that price for a long time. It just went out because like someone was just out of stock. But what happens is there are suppliers at ASD that I work with, that I've been working with for like 5 years. I get prices that you will probably get like double the price. And that's because a lot of these things happen on relationships. A lot of it happen on like, hey, like, what can you do for me? It's like, they know you, they know what you take, they look out for you, they buy stuff just for you. As long as you're forming those relationships, ASD is not terrible, because a supplier is more than the product they just carry. It's also what products do they have access to. And yeah, there's a lot of layers into it, but like that's one of the things I like to say about suppliers.
Yeah, so I'm curious your thoughts. What's the best way for the person who's doing all in arbitrage, right? So a lot of my guys are obviously and that kind of stuff. What are the first steps to get into wholesale base? I'd love to flip it on you basically for a sec there.
Yeah, no, the first steps is like what you just it's call 500 people, because it's in the wholesale business, you're not only buying volume, but you're also moving in volume. You're doing everything in volume. You're negotiating in volume. You're trying to find as many suppliers as you can, and you don't really know what to do. So what you really want to do is like find the few that are easy to work with, so you can warm your way up into those like really profitable accounts. Now, ASD is okay for like warming yourself up, but like if you're in OA, it's a totally different mindset, because, OA, you're on a website, you're scavenging website, you're looking around, you're seeing like what you can buy, discounts, coupon codes, guessing like that's how it works, right? The gist of it. Yeah. Okay. But in wholesale, you have to put your business hat on, and you have to get used to business terminologies. You have to get on the phone. You have to speak to people that's been in this industry, not Amazon, but like the real world of like the supply chain for the past 20, 30 years. And that can be like really intimidating. So my number one thing is like study these keywords, study the vocabulary, get used to talking to them on the phone, call all of them so you get rejected and they just laugh at you. But then you learn, like, why did they laugh at me, or why did they reject my emails? But, you won't really understand if you don't get the reps in. So your best thing was giving that advice, like call 200 suppliers, because you're getting
yeah, and that proves that you really want it. Exactly. And if like you really want it, like you'll go do that. And the nice thing is if you're willing to go do that, like you can do anything basically. But yeah, I'd say like if you can do like, 100K profit with online arbitrage, you can do way more than that with wholesale and everything, right? Just moving up the opportunity vehicles, right? It's a higher leverage opportunity, everything.
I thought that until I got on Twitter. So I'll be honest, because like you guys are so good at what you do. For the longest, I had the worst opinion of like online arbitrage, until I'm like, let me open my mind, right? Because I'm like, how much can you go on a website, buy products, and like how long can you keep up with that, right? But like I'm seeing people hit some like really good numbers, and they're really good at finding like the coupons and those things, like the stuff that you tweet about. So I don't know. It's like, I don't know if it's an upgrade, because it's so different. It's like a 180 switch. So like maybe you're really good at OA, but you get into wholesale, but you're not good at talking to people. You know what I mean? Like you're not like business savvy, or like you don't like to negotiate. You don't like to do it. Like it's so different. It's like you have to try it out to see if it's an upgrade. Maybe from OA straight to private label is your thing. Like maybe it's not wholesale, because it's a little different.
Well, let's talk about that, right? Because the typical bottleneck with OA, in like the 2 to 3 mil annually, right, is volume of product you can buy, right? Like with order cancel and stuff on different websites. So like that's the way I see it, is like if you want to grow, you have to do something else. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like the typical thing in there, because right outside of purely the client facing, right, supplier side of things, it's the exact same in terms of like fulfillment, Keepa charts, measuring product, right? And then to get that bigger opportunity, you got to change, right? You got to be willing to learn, like you're saying, the client relationship, 100%. Supplier relationship, sort of things. Like I really like, I completely agree with that. Yeah.
In the wholesale business, the same thing. Once you get to $2 million, $3 million, it's like you're not running wholesale catalogs the same way. Like now you're getting into like hardcore negotiations, you're forecasting orders, you're hitting up brands. You're like, hey, I'm committing to this much amount. You're telling them, you're looking for deals, and you're pushing for like really good relationships. So you're not buying like how you used to in wholesale. You're kind of maneuvering into like brand management. You're always upgrading somehow. But like somehow, no matter what we do, we go from OA to wholesale, and even in wholesale, you end up in like private label, because that's what like managing brands are. It's like you're running your own brand. So you're kind of moving into that atmosphere.
Yeah,
So
you're trying to integrate yourself further, right? And that like OA is like the last end of the supply chain, right? I'm buying from retail stores,
yeah,
right? And then wholesale being like the typical model, right? I'm buying from distributors. And then the overall goal being like, okay, brand management, exclusive relationships. Let me become a part of this brand's business, right? Like a partner, essentially, like a really sticky, right? Exclusive relationship. And then the further you go to where other people aren't going to want to get, there's just more and more profit. And that the barrier to entry to OA is so much higher or so much easier than the barrier to entry to wholesale, right? And the barrier to entry to private label and everything. So that's why you're rewarded if you're willing to do it with the bigger upside, basically.
Now let me ask you a question. I know the barrier of entry to OA is really easy. You go on a website, you buy products, but what about the other things that compound? Like, like finding coupons is not easy. I can't do it. I buy everything full price. I go on, like, you tell me it doesn't work, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah. So what's cool? Yeah. So what's cool about OA is it's like in the way that the way I see it, right, is that wholesale wise, you have relationships with different suppliers. With OA, if you can get like a friend group and you can attack different opportunities well together, that's like the really profitable side of OA in terms of like, okay, right? It's more scarce in that a website might only have XYZ amount of a certain SKU, right? Or a website might have order limits on certain SKUs, right? So because it's like there's less overall opportunity, it's really easy to go at it with your friends, basically. And like that's what I think compounds really well with OA. And it's like, okay, realizing what websites I can buy heavy on, right? And then how to find discounts on those websites. And now that's very hard. That's why it's very profitable when you do it well and stuff. And like the cool thing is you can, like, what I always did was just talk to other people and like put together little pieces of the puzzle, basically. And because it's so accessible and that like I can learn one thing and immediately make money with it today. And you just can't do that with wholesale as much, I would say. So, right. Because like the triggers to make money are easier. You can do it faster, but it's also a lot less long-term, and that's a lot less compoundable, right? It's a lot less for long-term thinkers, I would say.
Yeah. And how is the scalability when it comes to OA, like when you're hiring and stuff? Because I assume a lot of it is due to your skills, like how good you are at finding like those deals that not everyone has. I know there's like negative connotations around lead groups and these things, right? Or are you guys like a fan of that, or do you just keep it within like your inner circle?
Oh yeah. So yeah. So the big thing is, right, like the way I see, and I've like thought a lot about this, basically, is that like the cool thing is that if you find a coupon for a specific website, it might stick around for years, right? In that like there's a coupon I started using in March of 2021 that I still use every week, basically, right there. So that's the big thing, right? Is that if you can find that kind of stuff, then it's just, okay, I know about a discount on a certain website, right? A lot of other people don't. So now products are profitable to me on that website that aren't for other people. I can have a VA go through that knows about that discount and really easily find stuff, right? So like that's where the delegation side of things comes in completely. It's virtual assistants helping you do product research and then kind of more or less admin as well. But the really money-making stuff is the product research.
Got it. And, because I always thought that as soon as you hire a VA, and that, in your world, it's like they're not really trustworthy, because like if you tell them about a coupon code, they'll go around to like someone else that they're working for, like, hey, how much will you give me if I, like these VAs are hustlers. So how do you get around that?
Yeah, it's partially just avoiding finding people that are trustworthy, right? Which takes time and should take time, right? Because that's why it's very rewarding. But I'd say it's no different than like, a lot of wholesale businesses will have VAs. I don't know if they're doing outreach, they might have an idea of different suppliers and such, but very similar to that, right? And that like feeling people out if you can trust them, and everything like that, I would say is the big thing.
Yeah, and the wholesale business, it's in the beginning when I first started, you will never take pictures of the products that you're sending in because you're scared that someone else will get the same account. So, but as you get deeper into the business, it doesn't really matter about like the suppliers that you're working with, right? Like Sometimes we'll have webinars and, we'll just name drop suppliers. Like everyone buys from the same organic distributor. Like, I told you when we're at Moxie's, I don't want to name drop to like 50 people in here, but like everyone buys from the same people. Everyone does this. And your ability with wholesale is how good you are at buying, like your buying process, and then you have different parameters, right? So like I wouldn't take 10% ROI, but someone is perfectly fine with taking 10%. Some people don't sell hazmat. Some people don't deal with oversize. Some people don't like to polybag. So they'll only sell like single SKU products. So everyone has their own parameters. And the thing with wholesale, why everyone makes money in wholesale is that no matter what your parameters are, there's money to be made. And you just have to stick to those. Now since the suppliers don't matter, what matters is your relationship with that supplier and how you're buying from that supplier, right? And your sales reps. So when you have your sales reps, you're talking to them. The thing that a lot of people don't understand is like these sales reps like to make money. They want a nice little shortcut. So what I like to do is like to ask them like, hey, who's your biggest clients? How do they buy from you? What do they buy from you? And they kind of just like spill it if they like you or not.
That's some game. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense too, because you got to figure out like what they're looking for. Because like there's a good chance like everyone's looking for people who place big orders, who communicate well, who don't like whatever, ask for refunds and stuff. So I think that makes a ton of sense. And like we see that like the conversations around that stuff is so much more sophisticated than like find XYZ coupon for this website and make money today. And that's why the upside's so much higher. Exactly. Like so much more leveraged.
Exactly. You guys will find a killer product and you will almost always make money, right? Unless like you're a little too late to the party. With wholesale, you find a killer product, you'll make money, but your POs are so much larger. Like if the product sells like 20,000 times a month, you can put together a 50,000 order, send it in and sell out in less than a month. I'm guessing that's almost like impossible when it comes to online arbitrage.
Yeah. So like very, very select opportunities. Like for example, the most I've probably put into one SKU in 1 month is right in that range. Right. But that's like Q4 where it's like different, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like we're deep into like Q4 where it's December 15th. Like I've done 10K profit on that SKU already, whatever. So it's like 30K in spend. And now there's 2 sellers. It's selling 100 times a day. That's stuff other people won't do, but that's also why it's like super profitable basically. But yeah, occasionally certain things like I was hitting huge licks off eSpay during Q4 2021 and everything that
business, right?
Basically, but yeah, like big occasionally, but not in the same capacity. And they're like anyone who's saying that, like they're not really being honest. It's not available for a lot of stuff, like very, very minority.
It's easy to sell this game, but it's a lot of it is not true, right? Like there's a lot of it's hard for me to lie to people's face and tell you that, yeah, once you find a replenishable, you're buying that product all the time. I'm like, no, there's some products that we buy every month.
But yeah, like depends, right?
What people don't understand is wholesale is a long game, right? So there's products that I will buy all year round, all the time. But what happens is I'm not profitable every single month, but on average, I'm always profitable on these products. So like in a given 12-month period, right? Let's like February, I might not be making money. I might be breaking even, but I know in March, on average, I'm just going to average out to be a profitable product. So sometimes you place those orders anyways to keep that repetitiveness going with your suppliers, but you're not always making money. Now, that's not what a lot of people do, but that's what some smart people do that.
Interesting. And see, that's the kind of thing you definitely wouldn't do in OA because there's like no reason to, because it's not based on that type of relationship things and everything.
Exactly.
So it's like
exactly
a little bit of plus basis, like you can turn it off and turn it turn it on and off as needed a little bit more basically. But it's also like, it depends, right? Because you're thinking about making, keeping that relationship. So then if for whatever reason they do have a limited thing, so they hit you up and they don't hit someone else, basically.
Exactly. Like if they have a deal, they're like, hey, like I have this coming in. Can you do this? Like one of my suppliers, for some reason, he stood late at his warehouse, 7 p.m. He saw the truck coming in for this product that I always buy. And they didn't know when that truck was coming in, because if it's coming from like overseas, it comes in when it comes in, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. He saw the truck coming in. As it was coming in, he was like, this is the manifesto. Like, get whatever you want to get. Let me know. In 30 minutes, I placed an order for half that truck and it just came to me. And then After I placed the order, the email blast went out with like the remaining units, but I had first dibs on that. And that's that's at ASD every single year, twice a year.
Yeah, and that's like he knew that you would be about it, right? And that's the key. Like people got to know you're about it, right? In OA, that's like your boys basically, or the people you basically, and in wholesale, it's your suppliers, right? But the maniacal obsession is what makes it work, right? That he knew you would be interested in that stuff, basically. Like people knowing you're about it is what, and being about it too, right? And that you got to fully commit and own this stuff, right? And that so many people, it doesn't work for them because they don't fully identify with it. Right. If you want to be good at anything, you have to identify with it.
It's hard to do a part-time because like he knew that I wanted it. For him to know that I wanted, I have to be in his inbox all the time. For him to like even remember my name, I have to be working with him all the time. Like I have these guys on WhatsApp so I can like easily text them. So it could be a little more convenient for them. When I place pre-orders, I got them on my Notion because they don't know how to keep track. Like they go back on like text messages. They don't have a pre-order system. So I'm like, here's a Notion link. These are all the stuff I pre-ordered. Let me know when it comes in. And he's like, wow, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. That's because I'm making his life easier.
I was quite literally just going to say that. You're making it easy for him to make money, which is then makes you money, basically. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah. And like, that's the thing is like, that's so much higher level of like business acumen than like you would need for OA, right? And that's why you're rewarded with the extra profitability and the leverage that it provides.
Yeah. I mean, wholesale is not... Listen, anyone that says they have 30% margin in wholesale, I would say 1 out of 100 is telling the truth. Everyone else is lying. The wholesale game is low margins. You know, if you see these guys as doing maybe like 50 million plus, most of these guys are breaking even and they're in business because of the cash flow. They're operating in negatives. There's a lot of darkness that comes into wholesale that a lot of people don't really talk about. Like when they say 30% margins, like it's not 2014 anymore. It's not 2012 anymore. Wholesale, you're operating on like 5 to 10% margins. If you're growing your business like really fast, you have employees, you have a warehouse, you're at like 5, 12, maybe, like net 12, maybe. But usually you're around like 7 or 8. Like if you look at like all of these big people on Instagram, all of the people that's on like Twitter and stuff, they're talking about really high margins. There's only 2 answers. They're either selling fakes or they're lying. Like it's really hard, even with brand exclusives.
Yeah. And either way, you're just like the revenue capacity raises the profit capacity too and everything. So like, obviously this is very good stuff. The nice thing is like, we're showing
5% of 100 million is still a handsome number.
Yeah.
It's still a handsome number. Let's see. Let's look at some questions. What's going on? You have a question from Nick. Did you get to that?
Oh yeah. It's more of a private thing. Yeah, we'll talk on that in Discord. Yeah.
All right. I'm just starting out. Should I even look at wholesale? Or should I get started with OA? I don't know if I should take advantage of a credit card to fund this or just use the little bit of capital I have to start out. So my thing is only utilize a credit card if you already have the cash to supplement for that credit card, just in case anything goes bad. So never use cash. Zero, never. If you have $1,000 in cash, use like $1,500 in credit, because like there's no way you're gonna feel that bad, right? So like you could always come up with $500, but if you have like $1,000, use $1,000 worth of credit or $1,500 worth of credit. So if all goes to shit, you have the cash to cover for that. But do you want to add on to that if you want to do a wholesale?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that
do the OA part.
Yeah, like that stuff totally adds risk and everything, but like at certain times it can make sense kind of situationally dependent. Like I wouldn't have been able to grow the way I did back in the day if I wasn't able to utilize that stuff, right? However, I was, younger in a different situation than a lot of people. I was also making money in other ways at the time. So you kind of got to audit like your risk tolerance and everything. But like there's like, especially if you're buying stuff OA, like there's really, really low risk. So especially with like Q4 and merchant fulfilled and stuff, like where what you sacrifice possibly by not doing it might not make sense because it's like if a product's at $30 and it's December 5th and you can sell 100 of those a day merchant build, like it's pretty risky not to buy that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if it has proven history, there's people moving it, everything like that.
Yeah. And one of the misconceptions about wholesale is that people think you need $5,000, $10,000, right? I mean, it's nice if you have it, but you don't really need it. There's a lot of wholesalers that have a $500, minimum order quantity, and they'll ship to you for free. Like they're totally fine with that. Now, will you have the best chances into the game is a whole different story. With OA, you'll probably get a much higher return on your investment than you will with the wholesale business, because everything is a volume game. And if you don't have the bankroll, you better have the skills and the knowledge that comes with like talking to wholesalers, talking to these distributors, and finding those really profitable products.
Yeah, and like you build the skill and then the capital follows. And that like if you have a proven system, like, you know, your uncle's going to give you a loan, or say if you're interested in that and everything, and it'll be like a very profitable thing overall, basically. Okay, good question. Yeah, so with only $1,000, so yeah, better to invest in OA? I would say probably yes. However, like once again, it depends what type of access to capital you have. You can get it easily if you're confident in that and everything. And that like if you go really hard at something for like the next few months, which is typically what people who haven't had success in business haven't done, it's just going to work. Like the only way it works is if you work really hard on it for 6 months, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I tell my guys this all the time, and, you know, we have a lot of success in people that actually follow this advice. It doesn't matter if you hit $10,000 in revenue today, or if you hit that number in 3 months from now. But I guarantee that if you take that first like a month, 2 months to learn, the $10,000 in revenue that you hit in 3 months from now is a lot more guaranteed that you'll be making a profit than if you were to just start right now and throw your money into something that you don't really understand. I'm as far as risky as I am, like I'll just throw in all of my money, including like my emergency funds, everything into like one product. I understand the risk before I get into anything. Everything that I do, I understand 100%. Now, of course, like even in the most guaranteed products, right? I mean, nothing's really guaranteed, but even in the most solid products, something can go wrong. Some Amazon seller from across the country is going out of business and they're liquidating, and they had a 10,000 units in stock and they want to liquidate on Amazon. They just drop the price. Like anything can happen, but you have to be okay with taking that like 5% risk. It's always going to be like, you're always going to be like the 90s, like 95% sure, 90% sure.
And what's your other option too? Never make the money you ever want to make ever. Like,
listen, if you were to look for products that's like 100% safe, you'll never buy anything.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who like overcomplicate, like who are too smart to ever make money. Like they overthink things too much. They keep looking, people love to look for reasons to not make money. Right. Meanwhile, you want to be looking for reasons to make money, because the people who are doing that, there's way less competition in that. The people who are actually trying to run it up, there's way less competition with that.
Oh, 100%, 100%. But when you're on the starting end of the $1,000, I like to say $1,000 is a very small starting amount, because 1,500 is usually people's minimum order quantities for free shipping, and $1,000, it doesn't really push the needle. But what I would do if I'm starting with $1,000 in wholesale is to go really wide instead of going really deep. So I would buy like 20 different SKUs instead of buying one SKU and spending $1,000. Even though like it's possible, right? And the reason why you want to do 20 SKUs is because you want to test multiple products. You send in 20 SKUs, you're like, all right, cool. Why didn't this product sell? Why did this sell? Where did I mess up? You have a lot more data points to compare across the board than if you just went all in on one product with a test order from a wholesaler.
Yeah. And you're even kind of at a little bit of an advantage when you start with low capital, which is what I did. I assume you're the same way, you know, being young and everything, because it forces you to be scrappy, right? And that like I learned more about myself and more work ethic, like in the thrift store scanning books, and like anywhere close to what I learned doing LA. Like we always say, like you can go in and scan like a whole thrift store worth of books, like the world is yours basically. Cause like that's what builds the type of person that can get the capital, that can find the products and everything. Like your work ethic is so much more important than the money at the start.
Yeah, and you value your dollar a little more, right? And when you first start off.
Oh, as you should. Yeah, completely. And then over time, you know, you start to build leverage. You realize making money is easy, even though society wants you to believe it's hard. They want you to be worrying about every reason it could go wrong. Meanwhile, the people who have what you want, they keep moving forward every day. They put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, like the beauty about starting in the beginning and you have limited capital is like you want to learn more. You want to be a little more careful. You know, you're throwing your money. It's scary, you know, like I'm so used to it, but like I understand for someone like first starting off. That's why I think OA is good, just to like if you want to do wholesale, but you're like scared, in that way, OA is good because like you're perfectly fine with sending $100 product into like the atmosphere. Because you know, Amazon, it's like you ship it off, it's like 100, it's gone. Like, where's it going? You have no idea. Like, is it in your inventory? Did it get lost? Like, where's the tracking? You know, it's the thing is gone, right? So it makes sense if you're doing $100. But like in wholesale, imagine, right? That's why I tell guys, I'm like, if you have $10,000, start off with 1,000 because like you're gonna buy the $10,000 worth of product, you're gonna send it off, and it's like that's it. Like it's scary. It's 100% scary. But with OA, it makes more sense. It's a little more tolerable.
Yeah, and it's also way easier to get into to get those products listed and start that compounding process. Like the answer with most things is like, it's not like should you do OA or should you do wholesale? Do both, figure out what you like better. Should you do FBM? Should you do FBA? Do both, and then eventually you'll do mainly FBA. Occasionally for seasonal opportunities, you'll do FBM, right? Sometimes, right? But like people, like it's not a binary. Like it's how much of it do you do basically, right? And like if you do a lot of OA, a lot of wholesale, you'll figure out which one you're better at and you like. Do that mainly that.
100%. Like you really just have to do. There's no answers. You don't know what a supplier is looking for if you don't send that email, if you don't get rejected, if they don't laugh in your face, if they don't, you know, like I like to say, like if a company didn't CC you around the entire company and make fun of your email, you didn't email enough companies. You know, like you go through really embarrassing things when you're doing wholesale, and you have to face those rejections. You have to be fine with them. And until you start doing it, like you don't really know what you want from the business. It's the same thing with everything in Amazon. Like maybe you want a warehouse, maybe you don't. Maybe you're operations guy, you don't know yet. Maybe you want to go with a prep center. Maybe you don't want to deal with products and you're just sending it straight off to Amazon, which I don't really recommend. Exactly. Closed mouths don't get fed. 100%.
Yeah, like everyone who has what you want isn't afraid of rejection.
Yeah, and you got to have some balls in this game. You just got to throw the money out at it, see what it does. And the beauty is like if someone is in your group or if someone is in my group, you know, I don't know if you do this, but like people always send us ASINs. They're like, hey, what do you think about this? Right? Like we do, since wholesale is a lot more scarier. What we do in our group is we have order audits, right? So
that's a lot.
Yeah. Because I lost most of my money on my first order. I bought like easy oven cleaners. I'm like, hazmat, what the hell does that mean? Right. And my mom to this day still uses the oven cleaners, like $700 worth. But yeah, so they send us their order. We look at it line by line. We're like, well, I wouldn't buy this because of this. I wouldn't buy this because of this. We don't tell you what to do. You could still do it. But, you know, I wouldn't buy it because I'm like, I don't accept this kind of margins, but maybe you do. Like, that's totally fine. Maybe you have $1 million and you're perfectly okay with a 10% ROI. I don't have $1 million, you know, so like I want the higher profits. You know, cash is very important in this business. So that's what we like to do to, you know, kind of like lower the risk. It's like you want to be part of a community. You want someone to send you an ASIN, like, hey, look at this keeper chart for me. Like, what do you think?
Dude, complete. And what's clutch, right, is that the vast majority of Amazon sellers are deathly afraid of other Amazon sellers. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the people who do the sales they want are working together. They're on calls like this. They're talking in Discord. They're meeting each other on Twitter, and you're rewarded for that with more profit, more fun, and less work overall. Right. 100%. So it's no brainer, but luckily most people don't do it. So those of us that do, we make way more basically.
Even if you sold 1,000 programs and you gave the blueprint and you did everything, maybe 10% of those people have the work ethic. Maybe 5% takes action. You know, let me tell you something that I've told this to like our inner group, right? Some guy, you know, he hops on a call with me to get into our program. And he's like, yeah, man, like I really want to start wholesale. And like, you know, what you were talking about resonated with me. So, you know, I'm like sharing my screen. I'm showing him like exactly what we do, blah, blah. Like, I'm not a good salesperson. I'm like, I'll just show you like what's it.
How you talk to yourself is important though. How you talk about yourself is very important.
What do you mean?
You can't say I'm bad at stuff. I don't even like to
say. 100%.
Like,
100%. You're right on that.
People talk so badly about themselves and it destroys them. Not you.
100%. I don't think I resonate well with like being salesy. is a better way to put it, right?
Well,
So
that's different.
I'll just show you everything. I like
Yeah.
that. Thank you for that. Yeah. So I'll just show you everything, right? So we were going through it and I'm showing this guy everything. And he's like, wait, I think I'm already in your group. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, no, I have this already. Like, I'm in here already. And I'm like, well, so what's your question? Since we're on the call already, you know, we'll just do a little consulting session. He's like, well, what do you think I need to get going? I'm like, dude, you're in a group. Like, why don't you? And I shit you not, if I had another group, I could have sold him the program again and he would have bought it and he would have never opened it up again. He didn't open up a single video, nothing.
Sweet. Yeah, OA is more profitable year long. Like it's never like, if you're asking that type of question, it's very clear you just haven't done enough of either of them, right? And that like they both work, period, right? That's one thing you and I know, Surtac, for a fact. If you work on it for a year, it will work. You will make money, period, if you do the right things.
Yeah, I think Jomar is in here. Well, if Jomar, if you want to say something about that, because you were talking about like some of your products are not performing well in the summer, and you know, and then the strategy that we came up with.
What was that?
No, someone said like, is OA more profitable year long? And this was like well, you don't do OA, you do wholesale, but this was the same question that you had about like, hey, like some of my products don't really perform in the summer, and you know, I'm feeling that summer slump. What do you want me to do? And we came up with a strategy inside the cohort. You want to share some of that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, you know, one strategy is just kind of just being aware of everything that's going on in the world, right? What are people celebrating? Different ethnicities, people with different backgrounds, cultures, things like that. And once you tap into those things and you start to create some products, maybe some PL or some bundles or whatever, you know, that's really a way to boost up your sales in those quote unquote slower seasons. So that was a huge takeaway for sure. Just being aware, right? Because when you're doing wholesale or you're doing OA, whatever, and you're just restocking, it can get stale, right? You're just restocking and you're kind of complacent. You're not really looking for new stuff. That was huge for me. So just awareness is key for sure.
Yeah, and you got to understand that in OA and in wholesale, we're at the end of the day, we're buying products and we're selling products. You know, maybe obviously if you're selling Christmas ornaments, you know, and that's, you know, that's like your main hitter in online arbitrage, you're not going to do good in the summertime, right? Like if you're selling Halloween costumes, you're not going to do good in like January. So it's the same thing in wholesale. It's the same thing in online arbitrage. You got to look at the product that you're selling.
Yeah, bro. It's all about patterns, right? Like figuring out what websites people are getting product from, figuring out what wholesalers people are getting from, figuring out what cold outreach templates convert well, right? But the key here is that to figure out those patterns, you have to do a shit ton of volume, right? And the nice thing is that's what most people won't do, right? You need to volume your way to success. Basically, you need to test a bunch of different stuff. XYZ website for order cancels, XYZ cold call template, getting around objections, whatever. You need to volume, right? Because then the key here, right, is the patterns and the specific nuances. That's what really makes money. You guys can watch YouTube videos all day, right? But the most profitable stuff is going to be the specific nuances that you and your friend group of Amazon sellers pick up on over time, right? And that should be hard to find, and that's why it's very profitable.
Yeah. And you got to understand that softwares kind of tell you what's going on in like the last 3 months, 6 months, but you still need the brains to understand why, what happens. You have to draw a picture from the charts, right? So like if it's around Easter time, right, and you're looking at a product that's performing really well, you send it in and Easter is over. And now you're listing tanks. Well, yeah, because CVS, Walgreens, and all of these places, all of those products go on very, very deep discounts that the OA guys jump on. I know this as a wholesale seller. I'm like, well, stay away from seasonal products after that season is over. So like Airwick candles and like these things, like I don't buy the seasonal stuff, or if I do, I make sure it sells before that season because I know right after everything just tanks.
Yeah, and you pick up on that after years in the trenches, right? And that it gets significantly easier to make money after 6 months, after a year, especially after like a few years when you've seen the cycles of different products and stuff go by, right? And it's hard to see that when you're new, right? But the reason why you haven't made the money typically that you've wanted to is because you haven't taken the time to do something for long enough to see that compounding process kick in, basically.
It's all about putting in the mileage. Like if if you're not in like all the hard lessons comes from being burned. But what I like to say is like, why get burned if someone already got burned for you?
Completely.
So it's like, you know, a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a truly wise man learns from the mistakes of others. And that's why you join these communities. So like you're asking questions, you know, Miles, like how long are you in the game for?
Yeah, so 4 years in July, but I've only been good at it for like 2 years, basically. And the key was that like the 45-day period that I found my squad, I did like 35K in revenue immediately, right? And it's OA. And dude, with books, I think I did like 30K revenue the prior year. And then I found like a good winning formula, right? Because dude, from the beginning, I've tried to play the game on as easy mode as possible, right? And the nice thing is most Amazon people try to do it the hardest way possible. Right.
Yeah.
They want to be sitting in their bedroom with the lights off, purely working on their own, trying to figure stuff out on their own. Meanwhile, I'm out here on social media and Discord. I'm trying to meet as many people as possible because I know they're going to help me avoid mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I've always had it easier because I've been so big on that stuff. And I've never worried about saying I'm a private person or any of these other labels you can give yourself to avoid doing what everyone who has what you want is willing to do.
No, 100%. And I like to tell people that like these days, yeah, it's a little, you know, the competition, I wouldn't say the competition is high because like the Amazon's growing as a whole. So like more people are jumping on the platform and then more people are jumping off the platform. Like PharmaPacks is going out of business. All these big sellers are going out of business. Like you know, it's the cycle of life, right?
Yeah.
But the beauty with today is that you have an abundant amount of help that you shouldn't be making these beginner mistakes. Like the hazmat mistake I made when I first started off 5 years ago, like Amazon Lit wasn't on Instagram. Watch Me Amazon, who was like one of the first ones to get on Instagram and like the wholesale game, he wasn't on Instagram. So I was making these mistakes before they were like YouTube videos about guys in like the middle of like South Dakota talking about wholesale. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So you had all this information that just didn't make sense.
Yeah, I had a really good point, but I can't remember what it was.
You start in the nice like social media ages when you can just ask any question and get solid answers back.
Dude, yeah, completely right there. Damn, I can't remember what it was, but it was a good point. I'm gonna remember in like 20 minutes, basically, right there. But yeah, completely right. And it's way easier. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, if you're worried about competition, like if you're worried about saturation, like you already lost. Like you should be incredibly confident in your ability to find specific nuance. And if you're not, that's exactly why you need to go hard. Because you got to realize the average person trying to make money is not trying at all. Period. No. Everyone you know who's won big is maniacally obsessed about it. Complete and utter devotion to the craft, right? That's why all the people that have the big numbers, or a lot of people that have the big numbers, they're working a lot less than people who are new, right? Because they've taken the time to compound, they have leverage, they have people helping them, whether that's friends, VAs, employees, etc. Right there, like that's the key. Like you got to own it. Like we're looking at a lot of people on this call right now where no other Amazon sellers ever heard your voice, right? You're really, really afraid of picking up the camera and talking to it on Instagram because your high school friends might see it right there. Meanwhile, your high school friends they're not paying the bills. I promise you that right there. The online friendships you can make, those can pay the bills, and they do for Surtag.
The people I met online has helped me far more in my life than like my original high school friends. You know, I like to say like you meet two types of people: the people that you meet in high school, and then you meet people like outside of high school, and those are the people that you kind of like stick around with. Because the people in high school, they have this idea of you just like who you are when you were in high school. So as soon as you try to break out of that shell, they're like, what is this guy trying to do? Like, what is he about? Like,
they want to
make money. Like, clown. Like, come on, you know.
Society wants you to think making money is hard, but if you stick with one thing for a while, it can be a hell of a lot easier because you take the time to find that specific nuance and everything basically.
I'm curious. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Go ahead, man. Yeah.
No, I'm just completely curious if you've had any time to look into Walmart Marketplace as a seller. I opened up my account in February, and I'm sorry to sidetrack you guys. It's completely random, but
it's cool.
You had another marketplace for us to sell on and stuff like that. But it's really like if you started selling on Amazon in 2012, 2013, it's like brand new and it's still very jank. But I made a little, I made a couple of dollars on there, so I just wanted to bring that up.
Dude, well, yeah, you
topic.
see all these people with reviews and stuff, right? And that like I've looked and certain things that I sell are profitable, right? So like
Yeah.
I think it does make a ton of sense. I think it's the kind of thing you do once you're already set up on Amazon, as obviously you're killing it with stuff and everything. But yeah, I think it completely makes sense as well.
Yeah, like whoever has a ton of replans that you kill it on Amazon with, open a Walmart account and just list those and just see what happens. You might be surprised. And then multi-channel fulfillment is your best friend as well with a Walmart seller account.
Yeah, there's a lot of keys to killing in this business. Like it's not just Amazon.
Yeah.
And listen, now that you're doing Walmart and you're doing wholesale, you can go to these suppliers or you can go to these brands and you'll be like, hey, we actually sell on Walmart too. And I see you're on Amazon. If you can sell on your Amazon listing, we'll put your products on Walmart. Look at the traffic at Walmart, throw some data in their faces, right? You have 1 million monthly visitors on Walmart just in this subcategory. And you throw some numbers at suppliers and they're like, wow, because like, how many of these, well, Miles, I know you're in this game, like this email template game that goes around on Twitter. How many of them tell you, you know, to get these followers, right? But how many of these email templates tell you to like break down the data, you know, like tell, like in the initial email, you just like give them a little more than just saying, hey, my name is this, I'm from here, I'm looking to open an account.
Personalize that shit. Yeah, do what other people won't, right? And it's the same thing. It's like keeping going with the Walmart stuff, right? And that like everyone's worried about if Amazon's going to be around in 10 years. Like who gives a shit? Build yourself up and you'll be self-reliant forever. Like the marketplace doesn't matter. Your skills, relationships, capital, I think that does matter.
Personal branding too is very important, you know?
Oh, dude. Well, everyone wants to hide and the few of us who don't hide, we end up getting a ton of opportunity. It's crazy, right?
Oh, my best supplier I met on TikTok Live. I never
what are we doing here? Like, well, that's crazy. Yeah. If there's some people perking up here, right? Yeah, crazy stuff, right?
The product we ordered took 6 weeks to come. It came from Europe, $65,000. Shipped it straight to my warehouse, and he met me on TikTok, and he was like, "Well, yeah, you look like you're in business. You look you look trustable." Most people usually take a down payment deposit, something. $65,000 straight into my warehouse, just showed up 6 weeks out of nowhere on TikTok. Yes, Max, on TikTok, bro. It's crazy. I saw a few people talking about this on Twitter. It's like there's the wholesalers on Twitter, and then there's like the people that actually talk, and there's like very, very few of them. But there's some people that spit real game. And anyone that gets a lot of retweets on Twitter, they're not really spitting.
Yeah, well, it's broad information, right? And that what gets you further along is specific stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to take the time to get through, and because you understand the basics, right? But a lot of people don't, right? So you got to take the time to do it.
I see some tweets, dude, even like some of yours, and I'm like, oh, I hope not a lot of people see like this is.
Well,
this
exactly, and that's what's clutch though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't get a ton of engagement sometimes.
Like, oh fuck, like that was a good one, and then I see it as like 2 likes. Like, oh, okay, like what?
Yeah, bro.
But you just got to put yourself out there. You got to do stuff that people don't. You have to learn from your mistakes. Like, same thing with online arbitrage. With the only thing that's different with wholesale is, you know, you throw emails, you get rejected, you refine the emails. You get some wins, you refine it a little more. You know, you just cater it to see what's working, but you're never going to know what's working if you're not doing enough, if you're not putting the mileage, if you're not putting in the, you know, all the work that comes with that. You have to create patterns. You have to create, like, you create your own success by how many hours you're putting in.
And the right hours too, the leveraged hours. Like you got to look at like, what are other people doing that you're not, right? It's typically, it's not like they're not doing anything crazy. They've just been doing it longer and they do it better, right? And that they work easier, right? They talking to other people constantly. You're high, right? They're out there on social media. They're attracting new people to themselves. You're not. It's like, period. They're finding coupons and stuff. They're negotiating with suppliers. They're learning more about sales, whatever. You're not. It's like pretty cut and dry what you got to do. You know what you need.
One of the things I don't like is, well, how many guys in your field that's been in the game for like 3-4 years, and they're talking about like putting in 100 hours a day, or like a week of work. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, a lot of those
do. I'm like, how inefficient are you that you have to put in that much hours after you're already a master of your craft?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of hustlers in wholesale, and I'm like, dude, that's not the flex that you think it is.
Yeah, well, it's a different skill set, right? Because what made you start a business in the first place? Because you were a hustler, right? You know, and then you eventually you got to bring other people in. You got to learn new stuff and everything.
You have to delegate. You have to just keep growing. You can't do what you were doing in the beginning. It might have worked, but you plateau after a certain point. Yeah. All right, guys. Miles, appreciate you for coming on. Thank you so much, man. We have like our webinar goes on for like another half an hour. So if people want to stick through, they can stick through, like we don't mind, but it's going to be main like wholesale talk that we have with our Discord. And I don't know how to like get your guys off.
Let them stick around. Let them stick around.
I'm not really tech savvy, but Miles, thank you so much, man.
All right, sounds good. Thanks everyone for coming too, especially like my guys just randomly and everything. But cool, good to meet you guys. Make sure you just follow, me on social, Surtac and everything.
Drop your social media in the Discord.
Cool. And
the chat.
At Lipsful Miles right there. Cool. All right, take it easy, everyone. Have a good one. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thank you guys for watching the video. If you have any questions, please let me know down below, as well as check out some other videos on the channel. Really appreciate you guys.